Hello, beautiful peasants, and welcome back to the TAVERB. Today we are sculpting some armor. Oh, it says cloak, belt, and blouse. That is not true. Let me get that updated for y'all. But tell me, how are things going? It is Friday. I feel like this week flew by. I know it's very trite. It's like, time just flew by. But like it really did this week. Oh my goodness. It's just been a lot of fun. I learned even more in Marvelous. I have something really cool to show you guys. It's my first model that I did entirely through like fabric simulation. You might have already seen it in Discord, but I'll show it to you in ZBrush too because more is more. All right. There's today's sculpt. Welcome in peasants. And we'll just type in knight armor and that will be sufficient. Yeah. And then I will have the key capture on today as well. Oh, and let me make this nice and big so you know what we're working on. This is what we're working on today. And I've done armor before. I've done really good looking armor before. Remember we did that female knight that I then turned into a centaur artificer and she looked great. But I don't know, that whole armor process was kind of slow and painful. And so even though I do have a lot of really cool assets from that, I don't really like using assets if it was slow and painful to me. I want to make sure I'm comfortable with the process. So today's going to serve as really good practice to make armor. And then everything I make today will be shared with my students on Discord. So yes. Satyr, Mia, you made plate armor through fabric sim? No, I did not. No, I did not. But I am learning how to do that as well. Speaking of, let me go ahead and make a small detour. Because this is in Marvelous. Check that out. Let's zoom in on this. This was done by Sarah Padro. I think that was the name. Prado. Sarah Prado. Isn't this just unbelievable? This is simulated in Marvelous, and then I learned a bunch of fabric terms, but I'm getting so distracted. Let me get my key capture up. Stop being interesting, peasants. I'm trying to get set up. Should I have been set up already? Yes. Yes, I should have. I was chatting with my husband and I was like, oh shit, it's almost 2. All right, where the heck is my key capture thing? It's always somewhere different. Oh, there it is. Get over here. Yeah, Monkey mentioned they knew someone with that same name. Crazy. Rob, no excuses. Spicy Rob. We don't get Spicy Rob very often. All right, where the heck is my key record? Yes, application capture. Okay. It's not giving me an option to restart capture. I'm just gonna do it again. It's gonna work. Ha! I knew it was gonna work. All right, why are you in a weird spot? That should not have worked, but it did. I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna fight it. That was very confusing. I need to do a video just on how to set up OBS, even though I know like not many of you guys stream. There are just, the tutorials on OBS are so fucking terrible. And I wanna help you guys. Yeah, Rob, no, my mug. I know. Rob, we have now kicked everyone to the fancy banner page that Aloha made. So we're all stripped back. It's okay, it's worth it. Okay. We're gonna talk about a couple things here that are neat. Fabric terms I had to learn, so now you do too, in Marvelous. So, in Marvelous Designer, it is a fabric sim software. So, you construct garment just the way that you would in real life, and then some fun Mia lore. I have done quite a bit of sewing, and it has been very helpful. I never expected that to come full circle. So, if you wanna make something like armor, that's obviously not as intuitive, right? These are the big things when you're doing that. I have my little notebook because I was writing all kinds of crazy stuff this morning. You want your shear and your bending values to be really high. And I'm sure you're like me, you're like, what the fuck is shear? Shear has to do with the bias. And if you're like me again this morning, like what is that? We're gonna talk about 2 terms really quick here when it comes to fabric. The first one is weft. W-E-F-T. What is weft? Weft is horizontal stretch resistance. So how much it resists being stretched when you pull it horizontally. So like this shirt, it stretches in every direction. it's stretchy. So similarly, instead of weft, warp is just how much it wants to stretch vertically. See, you're getting there. And now shear is when you combine those together. So how much it wants to stretch vertically and horizontally, or the resistance of. The fancy word for that is the bias, which is like the grain of the fabric. So like if you're making a garment, you want it to be really pretty and drapey and pretty. You don't want to cut against the bias, you cut with it. So it's the opposite of what you do when like you grill a tri-tip, like a steak. You don't want to cut with the grain because it'll be really hard to chew. So like with tri-tip, you cut against the grain. Kind of a funny thing. So similar concept, but it is flip-flopped. So what does all that mean? That means that when you are making armor in Marvelous, you want to make sure these values are really high, which means high resistance to bending or stretching. And that's how you kind of get this metal appearance, right? Very, very, very cool. There's a default in Marvelous that is full grain leather, and that gets you pretty close. And then I wrote down a bunch of notes of what she included that she also dealt with, including fold angles. I have no idea what the fuck fold angles are, or seam taping or bond. I'm just telling you what I know so far. Very cool. All right. That article that explains how to make this armor is linked in our Discord right now. It's on ArtStation. Really cool. Or apparently not. It's on Closet, whatever. It's linked in our Discord. More about Fabric Sim. Let me go ahead and save this. We're gonna call this Night. Why can't I spell night? Night. There you go. And I'm gonna show you what this finished model looks like that I made in Marvelous. And it's really cool because again, it's like this Roman senator and he has like this drapery. And I literally had to Google how to tie a toga. Even though this isn't a toga, whatever, you get the point. And like I literally did that in Marvelous, dragging it around. Look at these fabric folds. Ugh. Amazing. Where's your friend? There's two of you. There's your friend. I'm going to duplicate that base, merge it down to each of the models so I can move them around and they will still have their fancy base. It's going to look really good in about 5 seconds. There we go. But yeah, this was Fabric Sim. It's obviously not as easy as like, oh, you just simulate it and it's finished, because nothing ever works. But it is really cool. You cannot skip learning how to sculpt fabric. If I have any students that are like, oh, I'll just buy Marvelous. No, it doesn't. No. I still had to do not a lot of manual sculpting, just like cleaning it up, because when I added thickness in ZBrush, it really made a lot of these fabric folds look like intestines. I'm not exaggerating. So I'll need to show that to you. Sater says, Gorge. Never expected to hear that from you. Gorge, thank you. I'm super proud of it. Let me see if I can find an earlier save so I can show you that when they looked like intestines, because I really need to stress to you guys that the Marvelous is cool and amazing. I actually used a lot of trim dynamic to flatten this out where it looked like intestines. Here we go. Oh, well, I'll just show you what it looks like straight out of Marvelous so you guys can be like, what the fuck? This is what it looks like straight out of Marvelous. And if you're like, oh no, now I don't want to buy it. No, it's really cool. It just doesn't do everything for you. This is the topology, and then you use stuff like dynamic and adding thickness. So for this garment, it worked quite well, just adding thickness. In fact, what I did was a step better, which is I close holes, which is really cool because, here, I'll show you. This is about as 3D printable as it gets, completely getting all the way flat. Really cool. But we're talking about this drapery. This is where things kind of went sideways. Again, there's 0 thickness. So I can add dynamic thickness. Here we go. What I could have done is add thickness in Marvelous instead, but I'm a bit of a control freak and I'm wanting to use my same processes from ZBrush. Maybe I won't do that next time. Anyway, this is not 3D printable. That's a joke. What is 3D printable would be closer to that's about as thin as you can go. And as you can see, does that not look like intestines, right? I was like, okay, how do I fix that? And the way that I fixed that was coming through with Trim Dynamic and Lazy Mouse. And kind of just like, ooh, don't subdivide to 20 million points. Please calm down. There you go. There we go. And I come through after the fact and just kind of like flatten some of these out. Of course it doesn't want to work because we're streaming, so it's like, I have never worked. But you'll kind of see how that cleans up and how it still looks nice, but now it looks a bit more stylized. and does not look like intestines. Yay! And then a few other things that I did was I used my normal sculpting techniques for fabric, which is pretty much just using the standard brush. And I actually could like divot this even farther. I can bring this fold out even more. It's quite a joy to already have a lot of skill in fabric fold sculpting and then have a base like this. It makes you feel quite powerful. And if you're like me, the edges look really raggedy and terrible. I know, don't look at them. By the time that I was done sculpting and doing all the things, it looked better. Anyway, so now that we have seen what I had from Marvelous, let me go back to the finished, just so you guys can kind of see the difference. And don't point out any areas that I forgot to de-intensify, okay? Listen, I spent a lot of time on these models and I just want it to be done at some point. That's something tricky when you're learning a new workflow. At some point, you have to do the good old good enough, which feels really weird because the whole point of getting Marvelous is to improve my work. Is what it is. Is what it is. All right. Any questions? Rob says weft and weave. I think it's warp, not weave. Weave, you might be referring to like the bias. The weave is a thing and like density. Fabric is so complicated and cool. Textiles. Yeah. Oh my god, this is why I'm not on the roster. Aloha is threatened by my range and wisdom. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Rob says, I looked it up after you corrected me. Oh yeah, no problem. Am I defensive today? No, not at all. I just thought it was funny it looked like intestines. No, we're good. Oh, like the raggedy edge? Man, just don't look at it because it ends up looking good. What's interesting about just, again, my whole process in modeling, I'm kind of like reviewing, and it's like what's worth spending a lot of time refining and what isn't, because some of these things kind of like iron out as you're working. It's very interesting. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. Are you doing good? Are you projecting? And then the forward says, he's doing the little heart finger thing my child keeps doing. Oh, that little... I think it's supposed to be more like a relaxed hand, but from the front, it totally looks like... Oh, that's really funny. He's just feeling cute. Oh my goodness, you might have put that into my body language vocabulary. All right. That is the full intro. That is the full, these are the things that we're doing. These are the things that I have done. And now I need to sculpt this armor man. Rob says, the finger heart with that serious face is amazing. That was so unintentional. If Ricky's watching right now, I'm sure he's like, what? Ricky is not hip. I love this man. But there was like, oh my goodness, we were watching Dancing with the Stars, and one of the songs that one of the guys picked for the intro, what's the actual name of the song? 1 second. Is it literally called Milkshake? Yeah, it is, literally. Yeah, anyway, you guys all know the fucking song Milkshake. Everybody does. Anybody. It's not quite our generation, but it's close. And like, it started playing and Ricky like had no idea. He's like, what is this? Is this new? And I'm like, how are you so not with it? Anyway. Now we'll know if Ricky's here or not because I roasted him a little bit, so he'll appear. Okay, we're gonna open our base for asset creation. There we are. Oh, also one more note about making this Roman senator and just kind of like funny stuff of new workflows. I have so many freaking files now. Look at all this. Because I don't know what I'm doing quite yet. But I don't know how to simplify it from this many files. I don't need to keep them all once the model's done. But essentially, Ricky poses them and creates the base mesh in Character Creator 4. And then he exports 2 different pose files, which I pretty much the pose files, just like keyframes. Like I extract from the FBX and I load those into Marvelous. And so I have all of these freaking files. Okay, the .mtls, I don't know how to make it stop doing that. MTLs are just like material files, so they're just like the texture on an OBJ. I don't know how to make it stop doing that. And there's supposed to be a checkbox, but there's not. So for now, I just let it export way too much and then delete it after the fact. Me. Me. Mock not his innocence. Cherish it. You guys would have been 5 when that came out. You can check exactly. I was born in 1996. So whenever that song came out, we can find out exactly. Okay. I spent an hour before the stream just watching tutorials, and as you guys know, I hate doing that. I found like 2 that I thought were okay. I don't know why people record tutorials and post them online when they barely know how to do the thing themselves. You know, like if you do it on stream, I totally understand that. But some of these tutorials, like they'll do it and they'll be like, oh wait, sorry, not like that. And then they'll redo the whole process. And I'm like, I watched this trusting you. I trusted you. Anyway, I have a bunch of notes here of like new cool techniques that I can employ. One of the really cool ones is storing morph targets and then essentially like baking that into a layer to affect like the flare or the trim on armor. So let's get to it. There's Ricky. Someone's talking about me. I can sense it. Oh my God, the Streamlabs bot is still here. Son of a... I'm gonna hide user on channel. There. It's gone forever. I don't know why it won't go away. It's not a moderator. I have no idea why it keeps coming back. Okay. Rob says, that's why we depend on you. You distill all the crap so we can learn. No kidding. Oh my goodness. To be fair, the bar is not very high. But, oh man. The first thing I do when I'm watching any tutorial is I immediately jump to the end of the video to see if it even looks any good. The only person I won't do that with is Abe Leal. I think that's his name. Abe Leal. Let me check. YouTube, Abe Leal. He's great. That's the punchline. That's it. Every now and then he'll make like basic-ish looking things for the tutorial, but it doesn't matter because he's incredible. So you guys, if you like me, you'll like Abe. Actually, he might like Abe more. He covers a lot. He's fantastic. He actually has a stream right now, I think. Not to compete with myself, but he's wonderful. Please watch him. He's kind of funny. And he's also really positive too. I really like that about him. Yeah, Abe is great. There's a few I really like. Yeah, I adore Abe. I want to be more like Abe. Okay, let's get going. So the way that I normally approach armor is I will take a masked lasso brush, I will draw out the piece, and then extract, and so on and forth whence. What I've been noticing with a lot of hard surface is they go from like high poly to low poly instead. And I kind of like try to skip the mushy step by going straight to the cleaned up armor. And I'm going to try to be brave and be different this time. And just sculpt messy instead of cleaning it up initially. Get a nice block out and then go back over it. Which is how I do most of my other sculpting. I don't know. It's very odd. It's been very strange looking at hard surface and watching artists I really admire have a workflow that kind of looks like a beginner, you know? But it's not in their hands because they know a lot. So I'm hoping that perhaps over all of these years, maybe I too know a lot now. We'll see. We're gonna change our material. Oh, it crashed. ZBrush. Don't do this. Anyway, we're gonna change our material. I've noticed that, again, a lot of the artists that I admire, one of the first things they do when they're sculpting armor is they change the material. I think that's important because it just removes like one more mental block of like, this looks lumpy and not like armor. Oh, so is Michael something, Pavlovich? Yeah. I have not seen Pablo. I need to. Hey Reaper, hello. You crashed the program. But welcome in. All right, we're gonna reduce the poly count here because I realize this base mesh is actually really high and it doesn't need to be. By the end of this 2-hour stream, 2-ish hours, we'll see, I will have something resembling an armor set to share with my students. See, why is it shiny now? I like when it's pure black. Maybe I won't mess with that. All right. Something else I really want to try during this stream is to think more about copying the reference instead of making my own thing. I never do that. And as a result, I think I kind of make similar mistakes, or I don't know. It's like never drawing hands. You just always do poses where your character has their hands behind their back or something. It's kind of like that. Ooh, why did that jump to a metal shade? That looks really good. I don't even know how that happened because I'm not selecting that. I think ZBrush is on drugs right now because this material is not skin shade. That doesn't make any sense. This is the material that I like and I want. I just don't understand why it's here right now. Oh well, we won't worry about it. We're gonna do close holes. Oh look, we have two different materials on this. One of them is skin shade. The armpits are skin shade, but nothing else. All right, I think it's matte cat pearl. Oh, sweet, I got it right. Sing. All right. So yeah, we have this, we close holes, weird, and now we're gonna Dynamesh once, and now we're going to use hard surface brushes such as Trim Dynamic to sculpt the armor on. This is freaking weird. This is not how I normally do things. Because I know how to make armor like this, so it's like, well, why don't you just keep doing what works? I'm like, because I don't like to make a workflow and then use that workflow purely because I haven't tried something else. That's not a good reason to do that workflow. We're going to use the move brush and just really think about the shape and the way that this is going to sit on the body. This breastplate is going to be kind of domed in the front. Those two little nipple dots are cracking me up right now. All right, and then a lot of Trim Dynamic. I'm not super sure how it sits on his shoulders because we do have that covered up, but I imagine it's somewhat flat. All right, and that's the point. I can't clean this up a ton because that's not the point of this. I do know that it's going to end at his waistline here. So let's look at the smallest part of his waist and move this breastplate upwards. Okay, we have a shape that looks similar to our reference. Now it's time to draw on the details. Again, this is so funny. This is like the kind of workflow I used when I was like just a baby artist. And now we've come full circle. All right, I'm gonna use Damn Standard and my lazy mouse. Yep. And we're gonna kind of look at these points. So always really like when you're starting to add details, it's all about proportions and where it's coming from. So instead of thinking, oh, there's a collar. Okay, let's just draw a collar on, draw a line. Think a little more carefully. This point right here is like, I imagine like his collarbone would be like right here. So this is actually higher than you might think. Same with this. Seeing how high that kind of like swoops up. Yeah, it's probably closer to that. And again, it's not about, you're trying to do the opposite of like working super slow because you're worried about doing stuff wrong, but instead trying to be like easy breezy. There we go. Hey Otaka, welcome in. Reaper, me happens to draw a character with her hands behind them. Also me. That's illegal. Oh goodness. Sater says, it doesn't matter at all for the purpose of sculpting, but in reality the breastplate is like a t-shirt without the sleeves. Just because you mention it and are nerd. This is true. All right. So now that we have these pieces here kind of blocked out, the next step that I see these artists do is they essentially like, they then mask off of this piece instead of masking off of the body. Which I mean, I guess makes sense. I just think this whole thing is witchcraft. Speaking of, I need to complete the collar. I think it'll come like this. And I don't know what happens in the back. Don't look back there. No. This is fun though, being able to kind of like, I don't know, mess around with the don't even know how to word this. I'm speechless without speech. It's such a just easier way of blocking something out, and it feels so illegal. If Paint is watching this, I know Paint's watching this, but oh no, they can't hear me because they're in a meeting. They did an armor set recently, so I hope they don't watch this and get super confused, because this is the opposite of how they did their workflow. And the answer is, there is no correct answer. Yeah, so see, that's kind of cool. I'll even polygroup as I go. Because my armor that I made for the female knight, though it looked cool, it was a little samey, like as far as the volumes go. So by doing it this weird way, this should help break that up because the blockout's going to be stronger. I just think it's weird and a waste of time. Why do low poly or whatever high poly when I can just skip to low poly right away? I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm going to find out today. The funny thing about trying a new workflow is you probably should try it a few times. Because if it doesn't work the first time, maybe you just suck at it. Maybe you just don't understand it. Because I know I want this piece here to be kind of like stuck on top. So there we go. That's more or less what I'm going for. And then we'll do a damn standard line for this armpit area. This is so janky looking. No, it's fine. Oh, see, I can tell I forgot about this collar piece entirely. So let's solo this. And I will draw the collar on. There we go. Yeah, see, that looks way too wide, doesn't it? Interesting. I'm going to do this again, but instead, just on the inside of this neck hole. I don't like that either. Oh, no, I do. I lied. That's cool. That's fine. That's weird. That'd be fun if that was more like a... Yeah, that looks cooler. Okay. Interesting. And I kind of want there to be like some sort of line here that can add more rivets to later. But then it looks like there's this really pretty bit of like filigree or some nonsense that we'll add later. But why add later when add now? I'm just gonna add some noise right here. All right, and I'm really paying attention to this curve right here because we are in the block out, but doesn't mean we can't design with some intention. Gorget and mantle. Meanwhile, Reaper, I pet 2 kitties yesterday. My 2 mods. Beautiful. It makes me so happy to see Satyr and Reaper just chatting away in our chat. That makes me so happy. The TAVERB is healing. All we're missing is Aloha. That's okay. They'll be here when they feel better. All right, time to leave that alone. I don't love what's going on with this lumpiness here. We move on. All right, time to make this really cool shoulder piece thing. I think it's really neat. So normally what I would do, again, is extract from the body and then build up this shape. But because it's thin, that's not really gonna work. This is where I find this possible new method being a lot stronger. They instead take a sphere and then start to shape out the piece like this, and they will then extract like the outer shell to get that clean layer. So I'm just focusing on this top piece here, not the flare that comes up. See this like little shark fin almost? We're not looking at that. I am paying attention to proportions though, of like the distance between the bottom of this really weird pauldron and that thing. All right. Time to come through with my trim dynamic brush and kind of start cutting out some planes here. Ooh, actually I'll do my damn standard brush first. Because again, I am sculpting armor, not modeling. Very weird. But potentially a bit more powerful. This is all coming about because I got a little humble, huge slice of humble pie. Humble house. I got absolutely body slammed by a request for that fish folk. Oh my god, wasn't that Rob's request? I think it was. Rob, your request for the fish folk gave me like an absolute mental breakdown. It doesn't work. For the way that I sculpt, I can't do it correctly, which was humbling. So, more so like this is AI, cutesy thing. But see how like much these armor panels sit off of the body? You sculpt them first. You do not model them right away. Yes, you can model them, whatever. However, I saw some workflows online that are a lot more appealing to me, and I was like, shit, I don't know how to do that. I need to learn how to do that. So this has kind of taken a back burner. Working directly on the model has taken a back burner, but everything I've been doing has been thinking about this request and fixing this. Because obviously I can sculpt the face. I completely scrapped what you guys saw on stream. I'm doing this from scratch. But it looks like a big sculpty blob right now because I am learning new techniques for it. Kind of neat, kind of weird. There we go. Something that might save me a little bit of time here is instead of sculpting the front and back, I should just mirror and weld over Z. Yeah, I don't love that it's not going to be symmetrical. Can I do local symmetry? Will that fix my problem? Because again, if you can, as much as you can reuse armor pieces, you want to do so. Yeah, local works. Great. So I'll do that instead. And that'll save me a little bit of time. Oh my goodness, why are we talking about man hands? That's okay. Yep. Mods being mods. Okay. Looking at this line right here, that's kind of what's given me peace. And then we got this kind of cutout here and it comes back down. So again, with these streams, I'm really using it as an opportunity to refine my artistic eye. Remember, what do things look like? And when I don't understand how they look like, how do I figure that out? It's tough. It's really tough. It's also really fun though. Oh, I wasn't very, very, very clear. Rob, I think your request is really cool. I don't hate it. I'm using it as an opportunity to get much better. And with my current skills, I absolutely can release something that would look just fine. It would look very cool still. I was working on it and I'm like, I care way more than this. I can do a better job. This shape here, let's go ahead and mask this so you guys can know what I mean by this shape. This shape. Yeah, this is not the same as this shape. Why are they different? Well, first off, I'm looking at it from a different angle, so there's that. Second, let's go ahead and mask this top piece. Or no, I can just use my move brush. Let's kind of add some more curvature to the top too. Oh, there we go. See what I mean? The modeling step, going straight to modeling and skipping the block out, only works if like you really understand all of your shapes. And I don't. It's hard. So I think this is a really, really good comeback to not even just the fundamentals, but just like I didn't know enough to skip that. It's kind of like getting Marvelous before you can sculpt any fabric folds. It's fine, and like you're gonna be able to use the software, but it's so much more powerful when you also know how to sculpt fabric. Rob says, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Sater says, so how about that new Taylor Swift album drop last night? What? Was that last night? Panicking. Did I really miss that? I did. I haven't, it was, yep. I totally missed that. It's been out for like 12 hours. How have I not listened to the whole thing yet? Woof. I'm sure everybody hates it, but I don't give a shit. I'm sure I'm gonna like it. I can't believe I haven't listened to that. More music. All right, more of that curve right here. I will tell you guys all about that once I listen to it, because I'm sure I'm gonna really like it. Because I like to like things. Spicy. Oh my goodness. Speaking of, there's a new Pokemon game coming out this month, and I'm also very excited about that. This is totally looking like the reference now. I'm like getting it. Oh, heck yeah. Sater says, I've heard it's good. Not Poet Society, but good. I appreciate you even knowing these album names. Well, good. I typed in, well, you guys can see what I type actually because my keyboard's up. But anyway, the first thing I saw was like, that dull razzle dazzle from a has-been. I'm like, calling Taylor Swift a has-been is hysterical. But anyway. Reaper says, oh, don't talk about Taylor Swift at me. Talk about whatever I want. You can just change the stream. Do I need to add any decorations yet? No. And I said I wasn't going to do this fin right here, but now I'm kind of doing it anyway. There we go. I am liking this new technique a lot. This has been really cool. Well, neat. I guess I'm gonna kind of leave that. Do a little bit of refining here. So it's possible what I'm gonna give my students today is just gonna be this low or high poly block out. Oh, that feels so weird to say. All right, yeah, we're gonna call that good. And then now I'm gonna move right down to these little arm layered tassels. Why can't I remember what these things are called? Sater, what are these ones called? Excuse me, what are these ones called? All right, they come to like a halfway point. So let me get that right here. There we go. How come that's not nearly as high up as I thought it was gonna be? Huh, really does start like on the deltoid. Interesting. I guess I'm gonna extract this with thickness. I can count on one hand how many times I've extracted with thickness. Yeah, okay, cool. I am gonna do it without symmetry though, because I don't like working in symmetry. There we go. Taylor says, Marvel's designer streams when? I did the first one on Tuesday, just a little bit, kind of showing bits and pieces. I want to get a... Armor is way too far out of my realm to do that. But probably as soon as next week, honestly. I'm glad that you're excited. Rob says, I hate that liking thing, such a controversial topic these days. Nobody hates things more than a fan does. Oh my god, that's so true. That's the only time you guys will... Not the only time. But you will especially see me be like mean to just... Like, I love Reaper and straight up I was like, fine, don't watch the stream. But like, oh my gosh, people that want to get in the way of me just enjoying things, I think is crazy. Like, how weird is that? The only thing, like, I'll cut people off when they're just bitching, but I will never cut someone off for like talking about something they like, you know? Hey, come near. Sater says, Rob, I'd give you a point if Mia wasn't systematically erasing my legacy. It's true. I think it's because if you dislike everything, then your feelings can't get hurt because you're like, well, I don't care anyway. But if you do like something a lot and someone's like, that's stupid, it hurts your feelings, I want to say that's what it comes from. I don't know. And this wraps all back into art too. Like, be more vulnerable, be sweeter. I agree. Reaper's like, I can't understand how people can hold that much hate in their heart. I get you. Because it's more, so here's the thing. Don't have a personality? Feel like you're too old to develop one? No worries. Just hate everything. There you go. There's your easy. People will mistake it for opinions and a personality, but in reality, you're just an empty husk and you're boring with no opinions. Nothing is more fun than listening to someone who's like really passionate about like a niche thing. The more I don't care about it, the more I love hearing them talk about it. I have a friend who's really into photography, and it's awesome because like even though like he's like an amateur and he's not great at it, he's so passionate about it and like all these different little like settings and like locations he can go to. He went all the way to Alaska just to take some photos of eagles, which is hysterical because we live in East Tennessee now, which we have eagles here. Like they're not hard to find. But no, he went to Alaska for it. It's just so freaking cool. And like listening to like the way they prepared for the trip, and it's just so fun to hear people really into their things. Bonus points if they're not even very good at that thing, because then they have a whole other funny, fresh perspective on it. And don't get me wrong, I definitely did that to some extent when I was in high school, being like, nothing's cool. You know what I mean? But like, I was 16, you know? All right, how thin can I make these? Because I want there to be 3. And then I'm also looking at like negative space where this gap is. Oh, something else really cool that I learned in ZBrush this morning. I was watching tutorials and stuff, painfully grating my teeth. You can tie knots in ZBrush, which I'm sure you guys have seen before. Let me show you how to do this belt right now. We're gonna grab curb strap snap, turn off symmetry, hold down shift and it will do a little band thing for you, and then split mask points. All right, now that we have this, I'm going to mirror and weld across the X. There we go. Make sure it's mostly like lined up. There we go. And then you're going to mask the like inside portion of it. Command W, so polygroup it. It drives me crazy that I polygroup stuff on stream. It always will color, like pick the most similar color. You have purple and like magenta. I'm like, seriously? Give me like green or orange. There we go. There we go. That's easy to see. All right, now that you polygrouped that with Command W, Command Shift, double click, and it will be hidden, and then go delete hidden. Finally, close holes. Now that you have all those steps done, here is something brand new that I guarantee you have not done before. Hold down Command and mask a little edge right here. Invert that mask with Command tap, W for the gizmo, and then here's the magic part. You guys, you know how you can duplicate geometry in ZBrush, like by holding down Command and clicking? You can also do it to extrude stuff. I had no freaking idea. This is so cool. So yeah, check this out. I am like adding topology. Oh no, make sure your mask doesn't get all screwed up. But yeah, I'm like adding topology super quickly by just Command and dragging. Like what? How cool is that? The only thing is just make sure that your mask isn't screwy like how mine was earlier. Make sure you only have like one little segment masked. That's the big thing. That's really funny, Sater. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the hardest part about belts and making a knot is that apparently I do not know how knots work. I was doing this before the stream started because I was like, I need to remember how to tie a knot, which I can do. Thank you. I can tie my shoes. I can do horse knot stuff, tying up a horse. But for some reason, if I have to like think about it and do it in front of me and not with like my hands, I like cannot do it. So enjoy as I humble myself trying to tie a knot on stream. kind of a manual process. I'm really not going to worry about doing a super great job because I can use Move Topological later and clean it up. Like, I'm already so confused, but this is how it looked when I was doing it earlier too, I swear. Oh, I shouldn't move the gizmo around. That's gonna make my life worse. Like, you can rotate it, but don't like move the gizmo around. Otherwise the reference point gets all screwed up. So yeah, I'm holding Command, click and drag, add some topology. All right, now I think what I'm gonna do is put the loop back through this front part. Let me make a little gap. Yes, I am doing it right. And I'm adding more topology than I need to. I don't care. This knot is really high up. I'm confident I can fix this up with Move Topological. All right, see? That's how you tie a knot in ZBrush. I did it a little goofy, but it's like my first time, so it's okay. And then you can add bevels to this, all the other kind of good stuff. But isn't that cool? Nothing beats just literally tying a knot. As far as like getting the look of a knot, you should just literally make one. I find that there aren't really any other shortcuts other than just actually doing the thing. Which is not true for plenty of other things in ZBrush. You can just kind of like fake it. This is not one of those times. I am so happy that Move Topological is just working right now. But yeah, how cool is that? Like, what? I kind of want it to be a little more front facing. Nah, it is better off to the side, just how I did it. But there we go. We now got a little custom belt. We're gonna add that little V shape to it. I don't really have enough polys to do that. Can I just fake it? Yes. Ooh, I don't know what's going on in the back of that. That's looking very ugly. I might need to subdivide once. We're not gonna screw this up. We're gonna come back to that later, just get that little, not called a tacet, but buckle. There we go. Taylor says, why aren't you just pressing the create knot button? Genuinely, when you said that, I was like, where is that? And I'm like, oh, that's the joke. Got my hopes up. You really got my hopes up. Hey, Riki's back. Hello, hello. I'm saying Riki. Is it just Ricky? I don't know why I'm saying Riki. My husband's name is Ricky, so if I see it spelled any other way than R-I-C-K-Y, I pronounce it like it's super exotic. I don't know why. If your name is just Ricky, I'm so sorry. Please let me know. Is it like fancy, like Riki? Or is it like, no, it's just Ricky, duh. Let me know, please. And thanks for sharing some of your art in our Discord too. I love when people join, like the first thing they do is share their stuff. That's literally the whole point. That's what I want to see. Why is that color not working? Let's make that a little bit more red. Much more desaturated. There we go. Come on. Beautiful. All right, and we continue. Also gonna add these little belts right here because the little details are what make this look good. When you're using a curve brush, just be patient with it. It wants to be good, it just needs a couple shots. Wow, it's really testing me right now. There we go. So I'm just adding these little bands right here. There we go. And keep in mind, whenever that black and white dotted line is still visible, if you do anything with the curve brush, it's gonna screw up what you had. So make sure you click somewhere on the mesh and that will remove it. We go split mask points, give that the same color as before. And then instead of using the curve brush again, because it was having a really hard time around the deltoid, we are simply going to hold down Command and duplicate that. which again is the exact same technique I used when adding more topology to the belt. Very cool that that worked. Man, Satyr and Reaper are just sniping each other the whole time. I love it. We're back to normal again. I guess it's kind of weird that Reaper has internet. That's more normal at this point. I'm a little confused how I'm supposed to fit 3 of these panels in between these 2 belts. And then this is going to be the topmost one. So let's lift that up a little bit and then slowly move these down. And again, I'm not really going to worry about the back of these because I can just use mirror and weld for that. Let's just get them mostly lined up. Very good. Mirror and weld. Again, across the Z axis. I also have local symmetry turned on. Oh yeah, see, if you don't have local symmetry turned on, it does that. Turn on local, then mirror and weld. There you go. How come you're not fitting? Okay. Then really trying to pay attention to like how much spacing I need. Reaper says, yeah, my internet likes me today. I also saw, oh, burn in all caps. I like it. Hello, I've been very happy to see you guys being jerks to each other. I mean, who knows? They might just be here lurking. If they end up watching this later, hey, Loa. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm definitely starting to see the appeal of blocking out armor instead of trying to jump straight to the high poly. Because goodness, that actually takes a long time too. All right, I have it mirrored right now so I can really kind of see the silhouette because the shoulder pauldrons are still kind of stupid. And I'm having a hard time seeing what's wrong with them. So this is gonna help me. I can definitely see immediately what's wrong with them. It's the gap between the neck and then this like fin right here. So I'm gonna mask that and just bring that over. The fin is also not nearly tall enough. More fin. More cowbell. There we go. Turn on local symmetry again and then mirror and weld across the Z. Why do I not just have like it turned on the whole time? I don't know. I should do that. Activate symmetry Z. I don't know if it will do that local. It will. Save myself a million button clicks. Why does it look different across the X and Y axis now? Whatever. Oh, because I don't even have X turned on. That's why. Big brain today. There we go. Cool. I'm doing it. These are a little lower. Again, the practice and the point of this stream is for me to get better at copying what I see, essentially, because I really took a lot of artistic liberty, which is great. Love that I can do that and make nice things. But sometimes I do have a specific thing in mind, and because I don't practice making these things, it's very difficult for me. Now, I don't have as much of like that kind of discipline practice because I didn't go to art school, so I've only had to make stuff that I want to. This is one thing that I do really like commissions for because they force you to do stuff you don't want to. I kind of have experience. I mean, obviously I did a lot of commissions through the requests that I get on Patreon. But again, people are supporting me on Patreon, requesting stuff from me because they want me to put my spin on it, you know? So that's not serving as great practice. We're gonna save this because I'm a new person. Hey Duke, hello, hello. Lurks are still support. Yes, absolutely. I do appreciate my lurkers because I am the lurker. Many of you guys know this, I say it all the time, but if I am not the content, I do not talk at all. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Duke. That's really sweet. All right. This is really cool. This process, I've never made armor like this before. I mean, I kind of did when I was like a brand new baby artist. It really looks fine. Obviously, like, I'm gonna do like the proper process here where I really need to make the whole thought before I open my mouth. What the fuck was I saying? I do enjoy the process that I did before where I kind of like skipped steps, so to speak. But this throwback to how, you know, baby artists tend to make things as like one giant piece is actually really fun and really liberating. And what's also kind of fun is if I keep these like blobby pieces, you know, my low res, high res, I don't know what to call these, honestly. They're kind of like this weird hybrid. It'll be even quicker to make, you know, block out new armor pieces from it, which is really cool. Weirdly, I think I was like hiding behind like the cleanness of the sculpt before and relying on that to make it look like armor. Which really isn't the strength of ZBrush. ZBrush is a sculpting software. Obviously you can use it in all kinds of different ways. Do you guys have anything fun planned for the weekend? I am going to be visiting my neighbors whose house is finally complete, all built, and I did a little housewarming party. I met them in kind of a funny way. I was outside doing yard work and she pulled into our front driveway and I was like super weird and not friendly initially. I was like, can I help you? Kind of thing. Like, what are you doing here? And immediately she's like, oh, I live down the way. But okay, since she's new to the area, she's like, oh, I live close by, you know, on, and she was forgetting what to call the street name that I live on. Wow, I really almost said the street name I live on. Anyway, so immediately I was like, this woman does not live here and she's just saying that. No, she does. She's just terrible with directions like I am, which is very, very sweet. She did not know the name of the street she lives on. To be fair, they hadn't finished building their house. But yeah, she liked the pasture area where I keep my horse, and like I'm very particular in the way that like I keep everything groomed and not groomed. What do you call maintaining a yard? I don't know. It's very tidy. And she loved it. She was like, hey, I wanted to know if we could take photos in your pasture because my neighbors like barn and silo were in the background too. And I'm like, oh, well, you can talk to the seals. They're right there, and get, you know, their information. She's like, no, I want to take it specifically from your pasture looking out. And I was like, okay. And I immediately got like a lot more friendly and stuff. And sure enough, she came back a couple weeks later with a photographer and her husband, and they took these really cute pictures out in my backyard, which is really funny. And that's like the picture that's on the invitation that I got. So I thought that was a bit of a hoot. So I'll be seeing them again this weekend, and that'll be a fun time. I'm hoping to meet more of my neighbors because there is a house that might be for sale across the street that I really want to buy, but I haven't seen it like officially for sale or anything. And obviously I don't want anyone thinking that I'm trying to like take their house. But I also really want to buy a house. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. I kind of don't want to go just because I hate plans. You guys know this. But I know I'm going to have a good time. So I'm going to look forward to it. Still haven't quite solved that. Why I just despise plans. Bonus points if I made the plan. I still don't like it. Whatever. There we go. Upkept and landscape. Landscape was the word I was looking for. My brain just kept giving me manscape, and I was like, nope. Anyway, Sater says, Mia, important question. Why do you suspect it'll be for sale soon? Because all my neighbors know each other, and they said they're going to move soon. But I haven't met that person yet. So, yeah. I can't imagine showing up to their house and being like, can I buy your house? It would help that I'm like, I live right there. But yeah. Hey, Duke is picking up their new car tonight. Make, model, year, details. We need details. Hey, Rudy, welcome in. Hello, Mia and fellow peasants. Hello, Rudy. Do I have your urn of glue? Of course. Of course. Sater says, go over, introduce yourself, and do exactly that. I know. I should do that. I don't know if I can afford their house. That's the problem. Like, I stalked them on Zillow, or the house on Zillow, and what it sold for like 5 years ago I could afford. But again, it's on like 11 acres, and like, I don't care. I think the house is like in not great condition, but again, I don't really care because I could just maybe build a new house one day. So yeah. Duke says, contacting the people directly could save you a lot of money with realtors. Ah, goodness. The adultier adults in my chat have a really good point. You do. Sater says, if they know they can sell their house immediately, they might get the fuck out that much faster. That's true. We have a lot in savings right now, but we're considering taking all of like a lot of that savings and paying off one of our, so we have a truck and we also have a Can-Am. If you guys know it, Can-Am Maverick, check them out. They're really cool off-road car. Should we have bought that before buying a house? No, but we bought it years ago because you live once. Anyway, we have enough money to pay that off in full, but that would eat into our savings. And I realized you're like, oh, it's better to be liquid. Yeah, but I'm self-employed, so like our debt to income ratio is especially sensitive with loan officers and stuff. It's a mess. Buying a house is scary. Oh, that's interesting. Duke says, you might be able to transfer the loan with a lower APR than what is being offered now. And then Sater, huge caps all the way through, MVP with that comment. That is cool. I'm taking all this very seriously. Okay. Conveniently, if I could meet them at like the housewarming tomorrow, that would be great. Everyone I meet tomorrow and be like, hey, yeah, so what's your address? Which really isn't that weird because, again, it's assuming it's like a local housewarming. Yeah, not that weird. Okay. I'm going to move on to the greave, or the... I know what these are all called. Why am I forgetting? Tassets. And it has this like... So what I usually do is I don't make them connect right here. I do like that. So we're going to make the top piece separate than the bottom ones. Select the body. Solo, mask lasso, and then shape. And you guys can still talk about house stuff. I am interested. I do think it's really cool. I just forgot I'm literally streaming how to make a suit of armor, and now I'm just talking about this house that I don't know if I can buy yet. I really appreciate how like open you guys are with information. I don't know, just it's the most like non-gatekeepery community. I think you guys are fantastic. Oop, that was the opposite of what I wanted. Invert the mask, and we're gonna try that again. There we go. Duke says, I'm just trying to share my knowledge. I wish I had more help with learning certain financial things. Could have saved thousands. I really appreciate you sharing that with me then. There we go. Oh, hey, I live right across the street from you. I love your property. If you're ever thinking about moving, let me know. I'm going to screenshot that because it's really sweet. And sometimes I need a script. Thank you. I have literally, yeah, saved it. Thanks. Speaking of community enrichment and teaching and stuff, I am redesigning M3DM Academy right now. So my students will have more information, and it's also going to cover Marvelous Designer and Character Creator 4. It's going to be a lot more than just ZBrush focus now because I do a lot of different things. Oh, I don't know if Taylor Brownie is still watching, but you made a comment a long time ago. It was like this, I was sculpting something like really good fabric folds. It was like a cape, and you were like, those fabric folds look really good. And I'm like, yeah, they're fun. I'm trying to get better at this and blah, 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 blah. And you said it in like a very not catty way. It was very, very friendly. You're like, yep, get as good as you can. Nothing quite beats simulated fabric folds, but you're on a really good track and it's getting really close. You said it even classier than that though. It didn't sound like an underhand comment. And that stuck with me forever. I was like, man, simulated fabric folds are delicious. And like, that is the reason why I have Marvelous now and why I'm learning how to do that, because it was like a twofold. I'm like, I'm gonna get even better at sculpting manually and I'm gonna learn how to simulate. But I don't know. I was thinking about that yesterday when I finished the Roman Senator, and I'm like, this is what I wanted. This is what I envisioned then. We made that comment and it was like months and months ago. So thank you. And bonus points, because again, like, you didn't say it in like a shitty way. It was like, cool. What I'm trying to say is you didn't make a comment like, yeah, your fabric folds look good, but it'd be better if they were simulated. Like, you somehow did not word it that way. It was very nice and very cool. I also really like Duke's comment there of, yeah, community enrichment through support and transfer of knowledge. Exactly. And like, the more I can transfer said knowledge, which for me, obviously is going to be art focused, the more I want to do so. Why are you being silly? Come on. I know I made a mistake. Just fix it. There we go. There we go. Fixed. Oh yeah, the car. Duke says, yeah, I'm picking up a 2024 Mazda CX-50 with a premium package and upgraded audio. I'm trading up from an '08 Honda Civic two-door for my younger years. Figured I deserve something a little nicer. I don't know exactly what car that is. If Ricky is here, he's gonna make a comment for sure. My husband loves cars and anything with an engine, honestly. 2024 Mazda CX-50. Oh, hey, nice. It looks like a sportier Subaru that I'm thinking of. I like it. What color? Because that's a big factor. Ricky and I drive around in a bright, like, candy red diesel truck, so we like color. Gunmetal gray blacked out. Oh, heck yeah. I love cars that are murdered out. I think that always looks really cool. Let me type in that gunmetal. That is the color for this. Yeah. This is one of those cars where, like, based on the color, it can look kind of, you know? But that is the color for this. Nice. Oh, you're gonna love that. Like, I love and hate this, like, khaki color. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's fun, but, like, it doesn't look, like, cool. That looks cool. Sick. You're gonna love that. Once you pick it up, tell us how it drives. I think they call it polymetal. That sounds right. I want to say that sounds familiar. I'm super happy that you can get that. Nothing wrong with the Honda Civic. My goodness, those things will last forever. But it is nice when you can get a little upgrade. It was so bittersweet when Ricky and I traded in our 01 Silverado for the 2014. But again, our round body had so many problems. I think it had like 300,000 miles almost. Anyway, I'm still hurt because like they definitely didn't resell it. They just junked it. And I'm like, I don't know. I liked that truck. We both did. But we didn't have any space or money to like just keep it. We might as well. They only gave us like $500 for it. But again, where we're going to keep it. So it is what it is. There's Ricky. Love me a good gray. Duke said, I already test drive it. I scared the shit out of the salesman. Good man. I warned him before the test drive I'll be driving like I stole it. Oh my god. Oh, that poor salesman. Hey, but he made the sale, so I guess it was worth it. Even if you scared him to death. At least you warned him. All right, we have our initial panel here. Now let's make a few more. I do want to make kind of like a better trim here. I am baffled at how even just totally lumpy and just like sculpting this lumpy still looks pretty good actually. Especially for 3D printing. I mean, this is gonna print beautifully. I'm still gonna remesh all of this and clean it up. Make it all crispy. But I will remember this, that I'm like, this is cool. It's gonna give me some confidence for the fish folk artificer I'm gonna make for Rob. I'm realizing now that this loop right here is much tighter at the top. Yeah, clean up that edge touch. The Duke of Business. Duke said he made the sale, but I'm a pretty good negotiator, so I'm not sure he made any money in the end. Hashtag expanding on business. I get you. Ricky and I were kind of the same way. Like, yeah, we bought a really nice diesel truck, but like we didn't. Salesmen, generally speaking, for car salesmen, they make a lot of their money on like the add-ons and stuff. So if you just like buy the car, probably not making a ton. Ricky was smart because he went in pre-approved, so we had some like negotiating room, being like, hey, like this is the loan we're gonna get. So unless you can beat this, like we're gonna finance through a bank, and obviously they don't want that. And so yeah, they were able to offer us a slightly better interest rate. I like it. One of the best parts about designing like this is that you can go really fast. I'm definitely not, but I'm having a good time. Thanks for hanging out with me. So this week I did 2 streams, which is much less than like the 5 at the max I ever did, but I can do 2 really comfortably, and I'm happy with like the quality of the stream too. And especially because I'm giving these assets, sharing with my students right away. I can't imagine streaming less than twice a week. Like, can you imagine once? That'd feel like nothing. What I'm kind of toying with the idea of doing is so I released a stream schedule on Monday, because I will never stream on Monday, so no more than 4 streams a week as of right there. And I'm thinking of always having 2 planned, and then maybe I do a bonus that's not scheduled. That's kind of my tentative plan right now. I like as these move down the leg, they get more and more pointed. That's really cool. I can probably do my mirror and weld across Z with this too. Yeah. The Duke of Business. I like it. Yeah, what's the Rudy update? How have you been, Rudy? You can tell in the TAVERB got a little bit of a makeover here. Things have been quite good. How many sections do we have? One. So there's the main part and then the sections underneath it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of toying with just having all of them visible right from the get-go. And then it's going to terminate at the kind of like just past the crotch, maybe like the top third of the leg, kind of mid-thigh, not quite. There we go. I don't think I have anything super secret planned for October. I usually have something cooking. Now that the website is done, I'm kind of just fixated on Marvelous, which is not going to take nearly as long as designing an entire website. So that's going to be nice. I already have a pretty bitchin' workflow going on with Marvelous Designer too. So at this point, that's going to become its own just like casual side project, and then I'll pick up something else big, which is probably going to be redesigning M3DM Academy if I had to guess. Oh, and like always, if you're already a mentorship student, nothing's going to change for you. You're only going to get more. Very careful not to take away. Rudy said, there's so much to unfold in my personal life, but September was a shit show. To be, man, that was the case for a lot of people in our community. September was not an easy month for the peasants. Collapse lung again. Okay, well, I'm glad that you got surgeries that won't happen anymore. And I'm glad that you're still with your band, Honey Lake. What a good name for a band. Oh, and then good. I'm glad we're keeping up on the glue diet. Very good. Is that why it collapsed? Oh, man. I appreciate the update. It was goodish. I hope October is a lot better for you. Historically speaking, my Octobers are always better than my Septembers. September, for me, is the Thursday of the months. It's fine, you know? I don't know if I've ever had like an exceptional Thursday in my life. Wasn't I born on a Thursday? Okay, whatever. It doesn't. Other than that. All right, time for this thigh armor piece. We're gonna do it outside of symmetry, and it's gonna go just to the bottom of the knee. Go back to our body, clear the mask we currently have, and then kind of just draw on this shape. Kind of getting in the flow of this. This is gonna end up being really quick when I get really comfortable with it. But a totally different approach from the way that I normally do this too. So what I normally do is I will mask and extract, I will ZRemesh right away, and then I kind of work in this very clean format. But since I'm dynameshing these blobs, I actually have a lot more control over like unique shapes. And I think it's gonna be a lot easier to make armor pieces that don't look so samey, which is funny because I think I'm making a pretty like classic, normal looking armor piece here. What I'm trying to say is it'll kind of get rid of that like bodysuit effect. And at the end of the day, if you find a workflow that's maybe not quite as efficient, but you enjoy it more, that's very, very worth noting, because you will just end up making more. And I am going to teach you guys how to make armor in Marvelous when I figure that out. Why would I make armor in Marvelous when I can obviously do it in ZBrush? It might be cooler. I won't know till I do it. So happy that the streams are back. This has been so much fun for me. It has been tricky for me to be like, oh, if I'm having stream. If I'm having fun streaming, more stream equals more fun. Turns out that is not the case. There is, in fact, this is not a linear relationship. I was surprised by that. Sometimes I'm like a little kid where if I enjoy something, I treat it like little kids with candy on Halloween. I'm like, well, I'll just eat a lot of candy then because that makes me happy. So more is more. It's not. It is not. Don't make decisions based on just feelings. Speaking of, Matt is still here. I'm gonna roast Matt for a bit because it was super funny. We were talking during our last meeting, which was on Tuesday. We were talking about his Tribes releases, and he made a lot of models for this last release. And I was like, how many models do you normally release? And he kind of paused, and I'm like, wait, like, how do you decide what models go into a Tribe release? And Tribe's just a thing on my mini factory. It's kind of like Patreon. You make stuff monthly, and then people give you money. Anyway, and he's like, I don't know, feelings. And we both just cracked up. I was like, Matt, you can't decide what your business product is based on feelings. I'm so funny. Oh, goodness. Oh my goodness, we have lots of updates here with Rudy and lots of medical words here. The pleura to your chest wall. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm glad you're okay. Ouch. Okay, well that's good. Dude, nurse practitioners are the best. They are the best. There's Matt. Vibes. Oh my goodness. And then Rudy says to Satyr, if we do meet in real life, we're hugging and hugging big. It's very unlikely. You guys literally couldn't live farther apart from each other. Rudy lives where I used to, so just outside. Or you're in Clovis, right? Still? Anyway. Yes, I would know if you moved. I would know. My tracker would tell me. Oh my goodness. Also, that's especially funny because Satyr is like really freaking tall and Rudy is not, which I think is extra funny. So that would be a great hug. You guys absolutely would get along though. You guys are cute. Oh my goodness. I am so grateful for this community. You guys don't even know. I mean, I guess you do. I just told you. No, you don't even know. All right, so one of my biggest things I hate sculpting with my previous technique was like armor that doesn't wrap the body exactly. Like anything like knee and elbow, knee areas, elbows, big problem. So I think using this new block out sculptural method will give me better results. Let's find out. Sater says, lol, my mother was living there for years. Now that she's gone, maybe I'll visit. In Clovis, California? Really? Holy shit, that's crazy. Okay, tiny world. Oh my goodness. That's beyond small world. That's tiny world. Really? Clovis is nice. That's Fresno, some parts of Fresno, North Fresno, very nice. All of Clovis is nice though. Wow. I feel like you never told me that, Sater. I don't want to be too specific with that though, because I feel very strongly about the things I do and do not remember, and it turns out I'm really inaccurate. So I'm not going to talk that talk right now. Because I'm probably wrong. You probably did tell me. Oh no, Clovis, New Mexico. Yeah, no, California, a little further west. I was going to say, that's crazy. All right, this is a shape that goes all the way around. Also, Matt, since you're here, this isn't how you sculpt armor, right? Like you don't sculpt armor, you model it too. This looks really shit up close, but it looks pretty good all together. Again, I'm gonna like mask and remesh it and then have like assets I can do stuff with in the future, but this is not bad. This surprises me. All right, we are going to trim both sides. You can use the trim dynamic brush or W for your gizmo, hold down Command, click and drag on one side, and then click and drag on the other side. And by that, I mean this little red box. You can trim. Yeah. I'm going to sculpt it straight up and down and ignore the turn of the knee because I think that's gonna make my life harder. And I don't want that. Guys, the way that I was like looking at tutorials, again, I never watch a tutorial start to finish because I am an absolute menace, but the way that I was looking at tutorials that were like 5 hours long and they would have less to show than what I have right here is freaking insane. Edit tutorials, please. Make them as dense as possible. I don't want any personality. Speaking of, really weird thing I've noticed that with all the Marvelous Designer tutorials I've watched, they're not narrated. And I'm like, okay, now we've gone too far in the other direction. I don't just want a real time or a way too sped up version of you creating something gorgeous with literally no commentary. Why is teaching so hard? We need to pay our teachers more. That's a whole other topic though. Yeah, this was way easier to kind of get this shape. I like it. Matt says, sometimes this way is fun for rapid ideas when I don't have a solid plan. That makes sense. I have never made armor like this before. I just kind of skipped straight to like mask and then ZBrush, make it like really nice and clean right from the get-go. Because I was like, why would I waste my time blocking it out if I'm just gonna clean it up later? Clean it up now. And I understand now. All right, we're gonna do this little trim piece onto the greaves directly instead of making it part of the knee thing, because the knee thing honestly is already a pain in the ass. And if I put it on the greaves, it's not gonna get all screwed up when I pose. Big brain. Yeah, that looks fine. I am deviating from the original a little bit, which does kind of defeat the purpose of today's theme. So let's get a little more accurate. There we go. That's about right. Sater says, too broken at the moment for soapbox speeches, but yes, agree about teachers. Sater, I've been not like worrying about my mods, but like a little bit. I hope things are okay or get okay soon, because I have no idea what's wrong with any of you guys. And I kind of love that too. Not that I'm like, don't share with me, but I do love that you guys do not trauma dump on me at all. It's really nice. That being said, I want things to be better for y'all. I really do. I feel like I had more of a point to that, and then it didn't come. So I just stopped talking. Okay, I should have talked during this process because I actually know how to make this. All right, this little flange thing, I just brought in a cylinder, made it skinny, dynameshed it, and then I'm going to use my 3D gizmo and this bend curve. See? Bam. That's like almost exactly that shape. How cool is that? There we go. And then kind of do these little strikey things and bam, detailed, cool, and interesting. I love it. I could probably bend it even more or just make it a touch skinnier. We'll do both. Perfect. And then mirror and weld. There we go. Sater says, and thank you. Love you too. Yeah, what I said was way more vague than that. Thanks. That was my point. Oh my goodness. The trauma nightmares persist. Oh my god. And meanwhile, Rudy, I've got massive father issues. Generally, people have one of the two. It's not... Oh my god, this is perfect. Rudy, did you see this in Discord? Yes, you liked it. Okay, well, if you guys didn't see this, this was shared on Discord between, well, Sater at Rudy. This is the best thing ever. That's about how it'd go down. Which I'm obviously going to excessively endorse because I can actually confirm Rudy is in fact a real person. Known him for years, like in person. Rudy, I'm surprised you're not at Aftershock. Except not really, because it's super expensive and I imagine that you have to like work or something. Ricky went the first year because it was like feasible and then was like, I'm out, I cannot afford this. If you guys are not familiar, Aftershock is a like rock festival, super cool rock music, as opposed to normal rocks. I don't know why I seriously specify rock music as opposed to literal rocks. Yeah, it is not a geology convention. Oh man. Okay, we're continuing. How long has it been? Hour 37. Okay. Duke is 6'5" and 250 pounds. Yeah, you're about on par with Sater then. My husband is 5'11". I feel the need to say this because I thought this whole time that he's 6 foot because I asked him how tall he is. He said 6 foot. And then it got brought up like specifics at one point and he's like, oh, I'm 5'11". And I was like, what? I've been with this man for 11 years. Wild. Rudy, I'm actually AI. Oh my goodness. Sater, you make me feel like a microbe. But I mean, you guys know that I'm a microbe because you can literally see me. Yeah, big hoss for sure. 6'4", 370. Are you sure you're not an NFL linebacker? Actually, no, I think you're still too short. I feel like everyone... No, 6'4" is about right. I don't know. NFL people are insane. No, I'm not short. I am 5'5" and a half. Oh, goodness. I'm always surprised like how differently certain people can like carry weight. Like, Duke, you sound like pretty lean. 250 at 6'5". I think that's what. I think Ricky is 220. 180. He was 220. No, he is under 200 now. Good job, husband. Ricky woke up one day straight up and was like, he saw a picture of himself, I think, and he was like, oh shit, I got fat. And then he made changes, and it happened, and I'm still very proud of him. But we do laugh because that was like, we both had like a fat phase. I don't know. We were like happy couple and really tired and kind of stressed, which meant eating way more potatoes than the average person should ever be consuming. That and pizza rolls, because I'd be like really tired, and Ricky's like, I got you, I'll make pizza rolls. I'm not going to tell you guys what age this happened at, because you're going to be wrong, and that's embarrassing. We were too old to be acting like that. That's all I'm going to say. We still have pizza rolls in the freezer right now, but we understand the difference now. Oh my goodness. $26. No, this is not a guessing game. Stop. Hey, Empress. Hello. Wendell is here too. None of us are real. We're all figments of Mia's imagination. Do not even fucking say that. I had a dream about that last week, like to a T, and I woke up super disoriented, where I'm like, the TAVERB is real. All of this is, don't say that. I don't know if you guys know this, but I remember like all of my dreams. Very annoying. Very annoying. And not very relaxing. Like I will have like straight up like an action-packed dream, like adventure. Anyway, and I will wake up tired because I fucking adventured all night. I've read somewhere that your dreams are only actually like 15, 20 minutes. And I believe that because I have like fucking 8 of them every night. Anyway. The very few times in my life that I have taken like meds to fall asleep, it's never because I need help falling asleep. It's because if I take sleeping meds, I don't dream or I don't remember them, which can be nice. When I was a kid, it was kind of fun because I would have dreams that would like continue kind of like a saga. And like I was a little girl, so they were like adorable dreams about like adventuring the land on like a fucking unicorn. And I was very special. It was great. This is like around 1st or 2nd grade. I know because I wrote about it in my diary. Those were cool. And then as I got older, I had dreams like this, where a big part of my job and community apparently was just imagined. And then I wake up and I'm straight up like, no. Yeah, Duke says, my wife is a lucid dreamer. She hates it. I am a lucid dreamer most of the time as well, but I can't do anything, which is very annoying. Yeah. Oh, but speaking of being a person and things happening, that cow sorting clinic is coming up in a few weekends. And now that it's the month that it's happening, I'm super nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. It's literally an intro to cow sorting, so it's okay if I'm incompetent, even if it wasn't an intro. Like, I am paying to go to this thing to learn. It's not a competition. I don't know. I'm very nervous. We'll talk about it later. Stops talking. All right, we're gonna do an armor sock. I'm going to mask the foot. And we're going to extract at 0 thickness, actually, and then I'm going to close holes in Dynamesh. Oops, that's not what I wanted at all. There we go. Close holes, Dynamesh. Very good. Nice sock. Rudy says, damn, Sater, you could definitely bench me for like 20 plus reps. Can someone put that in TAVERB quotes in our Discord, please? Oh my god. That's hysterical. Yeah, I get you. Progress, not perfection. Yeah, that's fair. But embarrassing myself in the process. Why so embarrassing? That's okay. I think it's because I really admire, when I admire people, I get really embarrassed and shy. And I don't admire a ton of people. Like, it has to be earned, you know? And then, like, the worst / best part about this is the clinic that I'm going to, it's like 5 minutes down the road. It's actually right across the street from the dump. And in Tennessee, like, trash pickup isn't as normal. Just fun fact, so we take our own trash to the dump. Anyway, maybe that's normal everywhere else, but in California, that's fucking weird. You don't take your trash to the dump in California, unless it's like a mattress. Anyway, that was weird for us here. Anyway, so I drive by this facility all the time, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And now I'm gonna like know those people, which is crazy because I wanted to meet them, and now I'm going to. And I was talking to my farrier because my horse had an abscess a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I hope he doesn't get an abscess closer to the event, otherwise I'm gonna have to bring like a broomstick horse. And he laughed. He was like, no, don't worry about it. If that happens, I'll lend you a horse. And I was like shocked by that. Like, it was just so freaking cool of him, because turns out my farrier is like best friends with the guy who owns the facility that we're going to. So if I embarrass myself, everyone's gonna know. And everyone's gonna talk about the girl from California who can't ride. No one's going to do this. This is just like crazy little brain. But it's fun to like share like the crazy dumb thoughts, just in case you can kind of attribute them to your own like creative process. That's how crazy and dumb you sound sometimes as well. It's okay. Be nice to yourself. No one's that interested. They're definitely doing their own thing. Man, saying them out loud does help me. That is really funny. The girl from California who can't ride. No one's gonna say that. Oh, goodness. I mean, I guess it depends on the person. Sometimes if you say your thoughts out loud, it makes them more real. I'm not that person. I'm like, oh, that's made up. That's really funny. There we go. Everyone's going to know, but who is going to care? That's the real good one. Like, that's like the thought process that will always help you and cement you. I love it. Duke says, Mia, that's the same mentality that I operate on, but people tend to get offended when you tell them that, if they aren't one of those people. I get you. I get you. Empress says, oh, loving the look of the new armor. What have we discovered with this set? We have discovered, remember that video that I sent you recently about like hard surface being a lie, and apparently you sculpt again, you don't like model? All of this has been sculpted in Dynamesh. Isn't that weird? Like, if you look at it, it doesn't look great, right? But from this, if I want to clean it up, all I have to do is isolate it, mask this section out, and then ZRemesh like normal. So it's like the best of all worlds. You can concept really quickly by Dynameshing and like the soft surface approach, and then you can customize it. God, why is my nose running so much? I'm sorry. Just like sniffing over here. I don't have allergies, except when I do. Duke says, if you want to clean it up, just zoom out until it looks like a tabletop mini. I like it. Meanwhile, Sayer says, cocaine. It's not cocaine. Oh my goodness. So I have a question for Duke and Sater. Both of you guys seem like pretty chill, adjusted individuals. You have good advice where you're like, at least on over the internet, on matters of like the mind, where it's like, you know, don't be in your own head. No one cares what you're doing. Everyone's doing their own thing. Don't worry about it, whatever. Did you guys actually always operate like that? Or did you have to learn to be like that? Because my husband's like this too, and I feel like he's just never lived a day where he's been bothered. Rudy can back me up on this, because Rudy has known Ricky since high school as well. And the way that my husband has just been genuinely the coolest, most level dude. In early high school, everyone definitely thought he was smoking weed. He's not a pothead. He just kind of has those vibes. No wonder I was drawn to him. Not because I'm a pothead, but because I'm a spaz. Anyway, just in case you didn't pick that up. I have to know. I have to know. Duke says a satyr. Get out of my head. No thanks. It's warm and cozy. Oh my goodness. Satyr, everybody at the TAVERB gets along with you. Everybody. Suspicious. You can't be more popular than me in my own streams. I will not allow it. Mutes you. Yeah, Rudy confirms Ricky is very level-headed. Ricky is him. Did you just call Ricky God? Or is that like a hip new reference I already don't understand? Jimmy Neutron. Oh my gosh. Did you guys watch Jimmy Neutron growing up? It was never my first pick. I always thought it was like really ugly, the show. So I never like, if nothing else was on, I'd watch Jimmy Neutron. But like, yeah. I always really liked Fairly Odd Parents. And then as I was getting kind of too old to watch cartoons, but not quite there yet, I watched a lot of Phineas and Ferb. Freaking love Phineas and Ferb. That checks out. Satyr says, when you have broken childhood and become the parentified son, you learn to become mature and wise beyond your years. So yes, I've always been the one that appears calm when the curtains swirl. I mean, I kind of like similar, like very much so was like the voice of reason or whatever. And like, I always got that oh, you're how old? You seem so much older. Like when you're in high school, everyone thinks you're a senior. Like I got that kind of stuff too, but like the inside, just very stressed. Not so much anymore, but yeah. Never too old for cartoons. Forge, that's very true. Matt has a good point. And Phineas and Ferb is awesome. That's true. I don't know what my go-to cartoon was as a kid. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't want to call Avatar: Last Airbender a cartoon. Because, I mean, it is. But, like, calling that a cartoon and, like, SpongeBob. I didn't watch those when I was in the same mood. You know? Thank you for adding that to TAVERB quotes. That's important. Must be logged. If you think you're too old for cartoons, know that you're never too old for Legos. I still have Legos to this day and love building them. Okay, listen. Legos are the frickin' rich man's hobby. The amount of money that Ricky and I spent on Legos, I don't regret. But Ricky is super into like those Technic sets, which were like hundreds of dollars and epic. Like when you roll them, the little like pistons and the engine actually move. Very, very cool. Yeah. Animated series. Sounds better than calling it a cartoon. Monkey, this is true. Animated series. I am so overdue for watching Avatar again. And though I don't mind Avatar, the blue people, just know that every single time I say Avatar, I literally never mean the blue people. I mean bald child. Every time. Okay? Just clear that up now. Also, I definitely like the first Avatar movie, Blue People, more than the second one that came out recently. I think I'm the only person that felt that way. I don't know. I really thought that the lore was inconsistent, and I was very annoyed watching the movie. And I'm usually not that person. I'm usually like, I just like to like things. But I did not feel that way about this. I was like, the premise of this movie is stupid. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Have you watched Arcane yet? Oh, yes. Okay, listen, I watched the first season and then I was like, oh, the second season, I need to have Ricky watch the first one. And we never did. I am really bad at watching like TV, which to be fair, I stare at screens all day. I want to be clear about that. I'm not like, oh, I don't watch TV. No, I'm always fucking staring at a screen, just not about TV. I'm either watching football, because it's always freaking football season, NASCAR every Sunday, and then there's also lots of other NASCAR races and stuff. And then video games, a lot of video games. So if I am going to watch a TV show, that means I'm not doing one of those other things, which never happens. And I'm not insane. I'm not one of those people that will like play my Switch and watch a Netflix series. Some of y'all are crazy. Some of y'all, too many screens. Just pick one. I too always have a screen in front of me. But the dual thing, this is one or the other. Dude, my housemate, and I adore him, but like, he'll like watch a show on Netflix and be like, yeah, it was pretty whatever. And I'm like, dude, I live with you. Every time I walked through the house, you were on your phone when the show was on. The fuck do you mean you have an opinion on the show? You didn't watch it. It was actually him that said the second season of Arcane was fine. And I'm like, you didn't see it. I watched you not watch it. Okay, that's enough. Yeah, I also don't play the League, but I loved Arcane. I still need to show Ricky all of Attack on Titan. Ooh, and Delier says, I'm taking my first baby steps into modeling today. I'm reposing an existing model and learning Blender. I need you to know, Wendelier, that was low-key the equivalent of, I'm gonna learn math. I'm gonna learn how to add. Just kidding, I'm learning calculus. What you're trying to do is very difficult and awesome. Like reposing a model and like rigging, that's a lot. So like, be especially like kind to yourself because what you're doing is very difficult and that's awesome. Baby steps, that's awesome. If you literally get anything to happen on the screen at all, even if it's broken, celebrate for sure. Excuse me. Yeah, I haven't watched K-pop Demon Hunters either, because of course I haven't. Which I know is killing my friends. Miguel, especially, I'm sure is like, how have you not seen it yet? I know. Sometimes I'd be worried that I talk too much during my streams. I know that's insane. I'm like, it's literally my streams. And then I realize I actually work fast enough that I can talk about whatever I want and still get things done. And that has been quite liberating for me. It feels so weird just like doing this messy sculpting, but it totally looks fine. Especially if you zoom out, he looks fantastic. I think we have passed the 2-hour mark, or no, we're at 1 hour 57 minutes. Okay, sweet, so I still got some time. I'm gonna make this belt a little bit thinner and this a little bit longer. There we are. Perfect. Very nice. Matt says, I watched K-pop for the 4th time today. Man, you guys have put me to shame. I need to watch it. Duke says, Mia, the answer to your previous question is above the Arcane conversation. Oh, thank you, because you know I totally missed it then. Self-development through trauma and adversity. So yeah, similar to satyrs. And I've always been very chill, but I used to internalize a lot of frustration or self-confidence. Real self-sorting wisdom, I like it. Oh, that happened while you were in the Navy. Very cool. That makes sense. That does make sense. I appreciate you guys for sharing that, because that was a very direct personal question to ask on a stream. But I was curious, because you guys have a lot in common, so I was curious if your reasons for being that way were similar, and sure enough, they were. Yeah, I cried a lot during Arcane Season 1, but again, the bar for that is not high. I mean, I guess it is. If it's anything that's just compelling, I cry. And again, I'm not like a hysterical crier, okay? I'm just like a tear up and sniffle kind of crier. But it's unfortunate because I cry if I'm really happy about something too. So you guys have seen a tiny bit of that on stream before, not a lot. All right, I am doing some final touches that are going to make this look even more like the reference. There we go. Because that was kind of like the big practice of the day. I know I can make a suit of armor, I've been doing this a long time, but I wanted to try a different technique, and I also wanted to try to be more true to the reference, because I'm always going off and doing my own thing. And when I exclusively do that, it can be very difficult to like actually match up references. Because every now and then I have something that I want to make intentionally, and if I don't practice that skill, I can't do it. We're gonna make a little bit of chainmail here. Discord does not work because I have not fixed that for you. Sorry. I will put that on my agenda. Agenda. What a ridiculous thing to say. I'll do that next week. Whether it's the end or the beginning of next week, I don't know. But it will happen. All right, so chainmail. I literally just make a loop and then I just make multiple loops. That's it. Not trying to be cheeky and oversimplify it. Trying to actually make it more accessible. Oh, speaking about complaining about tutorials, the amount of tutorials that I saw today that started with like a finished model, I hate that. Again, you can reuse stuff as much as you want, but don't call it a tutorial. The fuck? All right, we got a little bit of chainmail. I'm just trying to mimic this thing. And as far as how you would do it for the arms, that's a little different. I would create a shell, zero mesh it, and then use nano mesh. Yes. Which I could have done for this middle piece too. I just didn't. All right, we're gonna make it a touch longer. I think it actually needs to be a little bit wider too. So let's go ahead and do that now. So that will make my life so much easier. When you guys look at this, do you not just also see ramen? That's what I always see. There we go. Got a big panel. Just make sure you line up where they intersect. That's the only thing you kind of have to be sensitive with. I also like to come to it from the side view. Make sure you line up the gizmo so it's like the same angle and then add thickness. Because if you don't change your gizmo, it's like this, it's gonna look all stupid and stretched. Not the end of the world, but just take a second to move your gizmo. You can do so by holding Option and then it will rotate freely. Again, you hold down Option and then do that. You can also click this little lock, I guess, and not hold Option. I just realized that. I never do that, but you can. All right, we're gonna fit this to the model by using bend curve. So click on the gizmo, gear, bend, I'm gonna do bend arc because I just want it all to be on one little arc. There you go. Neat. I'm gonna tuck it back just a touch. And now, kind of the tedious part, because I made this too big, I'm gonna use my move brush and I'm just gonna kind of scoot it into place where you can't see it. I'm gonna turn off symmetry. And then last but not least, I do want this to match the reference just because, again, we're practicing that. I'm gonna click on auto groups, and then I'm just gonna really tediously delete rings that are not in the spot where I want them. I guess this isn't as tedious as I thought. I'm just holding Command and Shift. And because I hit auto groups, they're all individual pieces, so I can do that. What's tricky here is that I naturally want to make it like symmetrical and not random, but it is a little random. There we go. Delete hidden. Never overestimate your ability to make something look organic and natural or randomized. It's just not human. We want to put a pattern on it. Looks pretty bitchin' overall. Looks like reference. Hey, I don't know if your name is Riki or Ricky because you didn't specify. I'm gonna call you Ricky because I'm concerned I'm overpronouncing your name. Do you have an art station? Nope. I mean, I might have one that's called M3DM, but like, it doesn't, there's nothing on it. Oh, interesting. Seder, it looks like you don't have permission to make invites anymore. Oh my goodness, why is it being so silly? If there was someone you were trying to add, let me throw an invite in really quick. And then if you did want to see all of my work, I've got a new website that I'm very proud of. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat right now. Go to the vault and you'll see all 1,000 plus models that I've made. I do have an exact number now. I need to stop saying 1,000 plus. I think it's just past 1,200 now. I don't know. It's on the website. All right, we have just hit the 2-hour mark officially. Not bad, especially for, this is a very kickback, chill stream. That was fun. I know I can make these sock shoes look better very quickly, so I'm gonna do that before the stream ends. Just gonna use my damn sander brush and add some sections. Simple as that. So none of this has been polished. Honestly, it looks fine. If you're watching this because you want to make your own 3D printable models, you could absolutely 3D print this. That goes for anyone that wants to make 3D printable models. I think you guys get sucked up into the normal animation pipeline a lot, and you guys learn about UVs and topology. And don't get me wrong, some of these are techniques I use as well, just to make cleaner models. But you don't need them for the same reasons that like animators do. So just keep that in mind. And then Ricky says, wow, your work is beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. And Monkey has to go. Thanks so much for hanging out. Bye. Someone's asking for the Discord. I'm so sorry. I put a link in finally. Oh, Duke wants to have an invite. How is Duke not already in the Discord? I'm so sorry. I'm gonna at Duke just in case you didn't see it. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is name these files so that way they're somewhat helpful. Again, this is just like a fun, it's a sketch, right? The reason why I share it with students is because it gives you kind of a confidence boost to have something to start from. And then you saw the whole thing happen live on stream. So if you have any questions about how it happened, you can look up proper armor, because I don't know what to call that. Van brace, glove. I don't know what to call these. Boots top. All right, that's all pretty much labeled. I just don't want to give you guys something that has a bunch of subtools with literally no names that I would feel bad about. All right, let's get a fun render on here. I like to hit comma for lightbox, render set, and then scroll over to either radial overlay or preview AO. Either of them is nice. I told you when you asked, it's called a rear brace. That's it? The bicep tricep piece. Yeah, really? Rear brace. I'm not gonna remember that because it doesn't sound like what it's supposed to be. I don't know. Hey, Duke is here. Hello, hello. All right, we're gonna do a little spin around. And then I'll be sharing this with my students, like always. All right, let's take a little screenshot. The shin guards are greaves. Yes, I got that one. I called it top greave or top boot. I don't know why. And then these are band braces, right? Yeah. All right, screenshot time. Smile. Very nice. Duke says, I'm back. I had to run out of the building to get my phone and accept. 1, that's commitment. 2, why is your phone not in the building? We have a super secret, top secret job. All right, we're gonna save this. Flip this around, because I know if this isn't the right place, it's gonna confuse my students. Oh, I'm actually gonna name, I've been name and dating these, so that way students that look at what we have here shared with them can look back to the stream as well. So currently we just have 2, the flower druid and the steampunk dress. And then now we'll have a 3rd. Keep that naming convention the same. I feel like knight armor is redundant. I'm gonna call it that anyway. October 3rd. Excellent. All right, there we are. So that is shared with students that want to mess around with that. And if you don't know how to get to it, just come to our Discord right under here, 3D modeling, M3DM student library. And if you're like, wait, I don't see that channel, that's because you're not a student on Patreon. If you want to become one, link in the description. Also, if you are a student and you don't have the role, just let me know, I will get you fixed. Because if you don't tell Patreon your Discord information, it can't sync the two. And sometimes it just doesn't want to work anyway. So, oops, I got you. Yeah, sure enough. Yeah, Duke says, I work for the DoD and phones aren't allowed in the building. Oh, it's because you are top secret then. I'm pretty sure that's Department of Defense, but I'm just gonna say that you're like a super spy. Very nice. And then Ricky says, Mia, this looks great. What a way to end the week. Thank you, honey. It was so fun and so much more chill than how I normally make armor. And it looks fucking fine. It really does. And the reason why I say it that way with like sass is because I never let myself just, I don't know, messy sculpt armor. I always did it really proper. And you just don't have to do that to yourself. I'm realizing now that there are Z metal textures That looks like too bubbly. That's a terrible matte cap. I don't like that. None of these look great. Not silver, I guess. I'm trying to get one that looks nice. I do have a preview right here. Ooh, that's the one. I actually unironically like that. I think that's wonderful. Ooh, a reflected plastic might be decent. Oh yeah, I like that. Let's bump up the intensity a little bit. Ooh, shiny. Why is this bounce light not moving? I notice you not moving. I have discovered there are light types. I changed this to point, and I don't think I love how it's working. Oh no, that is cool. Never mind. Cool. And then Ricky asks, Z-spheres for posing. Z-spheres are not my favorite. If I am going to pose in ZBrush, I like using Transpose Master. So to find that, come up to Z plugin, Transpose Master, and then click on T-Pose Mesh. Once you're done masking and posing it, click on T-Pose Sub-T. I know it sounds like nonsense. I don't know why they're named this way. Just think of it as a start button and an end button. Again, that's under Z plugin, Transpose Master. It's going to take all your subtools and make them one subtool. It's very cool. Empress says, I'm glad to be discovering that there are multiple ways to create the product though. Like, sure, there are immaculate or immutable things that edge loops for humanoid animations, but knowing you don't have to entirely rely on ZModeler is nice. I agree. So I think the best workflow currently, again, if you ask me in 3 months, I'll change my mind. But right now, I think the best way is to block out using just traditional sculpting methods. So Dynamesh, blobs, and then you kind of use hard surface brushes, which is what we refer to like Trim Dynamic and Age Polish to clean it up. And Damn Standard does quite a nice job. And then from that, you can mask and extract at 0 thickness, Z-remesh that and get really nice clean edges that you can further refine. Ricky says, thank you. You're so welcome. I appreciate that you came back and asked questions and stuff. Keep sharing your art in my Discord too. People love to see it. They do. I really didn't wrap these around as nice as that looks. Mine look really bubbly. From the front, it looks pretty similar, but I obviously did not do the best job on the sides. That's good for me to know. I'm just happy I was able to show you guys how to tie a knot in ZBrush. That was new. And then decimate to printing. You are correct. One more caveat to that is you're going to want to make sure you remesh by union. So merge everything down, click W for your gizmo, gear, and then remesh by union. Make sure you're doing that first. You also need to do a bunch of other steps. Like, if you know a lot about ZBrush, you'll understand. Auto groups, Command-Shift-Click to hide your external mesh, CL the gunk in the inside, Command-W polygroup it away, delete hidden, show your full mesh, close holes, rinse and repeat. That's the full process. If that didn't make any sense, I can't. Join my mentorship program and I can teach it to you. Otherwise, it's too much to put on the stream right now at the end. Oh, and then Sater said, stock armor would be a sabaton. More useless information. I like it. Oh, thank you, Rudy. I think it looks good too. Appreciate you. And then Sater mentions, oh, so you're okay with the forearms being van braces, but not the upper arms being rear braces. You know, I guess it makes more, shouldn't it be like upper braces? I don't know. Upper arm brace? I don't know. All right, you're right. You got me. I tried. Okay. Thank you guys. This was super fun. I will have more streams next week. You can keep an eye out for the schedule in our Discord. I'll post that. Or you can just subscribe on YouTube and hope that YouTube tells you about it. Not gonna tell you how to live your life, but you might miss it that way. All right. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next week, but not on Monday. I for sure will never ever stream on Monday. Okay. Take care. Bye.